But if it's in-state, you probably.
What is the,
There's, in a
they
sense,
have assistance?
state resources all around you, even if you don't
Fingers
know it.
crossed that the spot opens up campus.
Yeah, even if it was just like one of us.
Yes, I've talked to a couple of different
Here it's Willis.
advisors, planting the seed here for the spring stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll do
That would
But
be
for a
good.
good trip like that, I'd love to see
Hopefully,
it.
it's like they might
Work out.
have that, we'll see.
I'd probably, I mean, hotels and stuff are so cheap, I'd probably. Cause like
I asked my civil engineer first, I asked how many of you worried about getting into
Every Main Street now.
How many of you were, this was in the fall, how many of you worried about getting into college?
Well, like, we're working.
Well,
Oh,
we're
we're gonna make the 7 out? Okay.
So engineering's doing what other majors are not doing, so.
like I've done or.
Staying at Lincoln.
So wait till he like says.
Yeah, he's got some stuff, but.
I looked at, oh, when you, okay, I saw that you say, kind of message, just scroll through it.
So thank you.
So that way, like,
It doesn't have to be all of them, but just like kind of follow.
Oh, yeah, I don't know
Admissions
about.
council.
I will try, I will try.
Hopefully somewhere.
No, the Ram code.
I don't,
I think it's a great idea.
I don't know your feeling about it. I know civil is still doing okay. Things can change because all the ARPA money's gone, which was
You should bring them up next year.
infrastructure money.
That is a thought though, because again, even if we don't, even if it's not budgeted for,
Everybody.
Oh, readers though?
if you guys feel like there's a benefit, like, even if these two people go, I would just really like to get to leave.
Civil? What's his name?
Well, that's true, yeah. I'm already, and I love driving.
Excited.
Yeah, he'll do fine.
I love driving as
Have-
long
Yeah,
as
that's
the
actually
sponsor
really
chooses to ride shotgun with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is willing to at least entertain some level.
About me.
You can't avoid.
Is this your first?
Alright. He's a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
but
Oh,
I think he'll be okay.
And you never really know.
Biggest challenge would probably be math. Like it's math, just on the math. So
Yeah.
You know, munch on some pills.
you have a tough time with calculus. Not necessarily.
Oh, SUVs. Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys did
You
SUVs.
have necessarily have a tough time.
If you're gonna roll in with the largest contingent.
It's definitely the maths.
Yeah.
That was not my fault.
So,
Why not?
does USD send a lot of bills?
He's in civil. Did he come and visit?
He did.
Oh, sure. I mean, I guess if there's, if there's not like any
My parents were really
requirements for
impressed.
who's allowed.
Oh, nice.
And then just a couple months ago, he was up at India. So he was
Yep.
When's that?
Like, I don't know.
Sometimes I give those tours. Depends.
But like,
And yeah, to function as a human.
Oh,
Well, maybe if we find a meaningful way for an advisor to tag along, you know, maybe if it's pseudo.
All right, we're going to get started. Thank you everyone for your patience today. I'm going to call this meeting of the FCSU Student Association to order. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice President Christopoulos.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to roll call. Chief of Staff Sharples Schmidt, would you please call the roll?
Senator Wallen.
Here.
Senator Stein. Senator Schultz.
Here.
Senator Loof. Senator Kloster.
Here.
Senator Fassen.
Here.
Senator Andrews. Excused. Senator Shrestha.
Yep. Sure.
Senator Tooley. Unexcused. Senator Kirschbaum. Unexcused. Senator Holland.
Here.
Senator Dunn.
Here.
Senator Derringe.
Here.
Diversity Liaison Catanam.
Here.
Communications Chair Johnson.
here.
Government Affairs Chair Mollison.
Here.
Finance Chair Delahoyd. Chief of Staff Sharple Schmidt here. Vice President Christoffels.
Here.
President Spear.
Here.
Advisor Willis, excused. Advisor Schmidt.
Here.
Advisor Bylander.
Here.
AFA. Unexcused. AISA.
Here.
BSA. Unexcused. GSA.
Here.
Hero.
Here.
Honors College.
Here.
IRC.
Here.
LASA. Unexcused. RHA. Unexcused. Unified Council. Unified Council. Both unexcused. UPC.
Here.
All right, moving on to adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight? Vice President Christoffels.
I move to waive the first reading of resolution 26-1-R.
It has been moved and seconded to waive the first reading of resolution 25-6-R. 26, oh my gosh, that's crazy. 26-1-R. For those that may be unfamiliar, this will be effectively moving it to unfinished business, so we'll be voting on it now. This will be the first and second reading. So, any objections? Okay, all those in favor of waiving the first reading, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, agenda is amended. Any further additions or corrections to the agenda tonight? All right, do I have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Senator Derenge.
So moved. Second.
All right, all those in favor of approving the amended agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is approved. Same with the minutes. Any additions or corrections to the minutes tonight? Motion to approve, Senator Derenge. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, we are going to move into our open forum section, and we don't have any speakers today, so we're going to go to public comments. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the Senate tonight? If we have someone, we're going to welcome them up.
All right. Good. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Zach Connor. I'm running for assistant manager for Little Eye. Just to start off, is anyone here involved with Little Eye? Megan? Okay. So for those of you that don't know, Little Eye is a student-ran organization. It's primarily a student-ran show where any member of SDSU can come and show a bull, horse, pig, goat, sheep, or anything else, as well as an FFA CDE competition. So this year will be going, or this coming year will be going on the 104th Little Eye Little International. And I would like to be running for the assistant manager position. So what's gonna happen is if I win, I would take on assistant manager and then become manager my senior year. But here's a little bit of my background. So I'm from Howard, South Dakota. I grew up on a cattle operation. I'm involved with Collegiate Cattlemen's, Alpha Gamma Rho fraternity, Jackrabbit Memorial exec team, and for the past 2 years, I've been on the Little Eye committees. First year I spent working on one of the CDE competitions. CDE competition is basically where those high schoolers come in, compete. We had over 1,200 this year. And then this year I served on the equipment committee, putting the whole show together and running it in the background, as well as showing this year. So first thing I'd like for Little Eye, I think it's a great organization. For those of you that aren't involved, I highly recommend it, whether that be getting on committee or showing yourselves. But what I'd like is to increase some alumni and faculty involvement. So I'd like to create an opportunity for alumni and those favorite teachers of ours to get to show in it as well. I think that we also need to increase awareness in the FFA side of it. After all, a lot of these kids are going to come back from the competition, come to SDSU, and hopefully be involved with Little Eye in the future. So that's why I'd like to expand the scholarship that already exists for those students and just provide more information for them to get involved with Little I, get connected, and hopefully get in coming their freshman year. Lastly, I'd like a club quiz bowl. For those of you that don't know, Little I also hosts a competition called High Point. Basically, your clubs and individuals can come in, compete in a multitude of different things, whether that be showing, we got Ag Olympics, just fun things like that. I'd like to create a quiz bowl to really add to the competition that exists already. I think it'd be a great way to promote club activity, and that's what I'd like to add. So, lastly, Little I has been a big part of my life from before this past 2 years. I competed in it when I was in high school, ever since 8th grade. I have family that was involved with it. I really appreciate the dedication it takes to put this large of an event together. To give you a little scale of what Little I is, 157 people worked the event. There was over 200, or right at 200 exhibitors this year, and over, I think, like I said, 1,200 students come in to compete in high school. So this is a really strong event. It means a lot to me, and that's why I'm running for Little I assistant manager. Does anyone have any questions?
I just have a question. I think it's great that you're trying to get alumni and faculty involved. Could you describe like what your plan to kind of get that process, to get this involvement? Would you have winning titles? Do you have incentives? Just kind of what's your plan to get that involvement from that type of audience?
So the targeted alumni that would be involved would be ones that were involved with Little I in the past. Obviously, we're only going to be able to span back maybe 30 years just based on who's still around, basically. But how I'd go forward with that alumni show, like I was talking, is raise awareness through social media, word of mouth, really get that out there, maybe kind of make contact with past Little I managers, and reach out to past execs, because those seem to be the most involved, most likely to reach out. After that, it would probably end up being a raffle. So say we allow 20 people to show in this alumni faculty show. However many can show up, put their name in 2 hours before the competition. If your name gets drawn, you get called, and hopefully you can go and enjoy and show an animal.
Are you familiar at all with Little I's finances?
To what extent do you mean?
So in the past, you guys had a lot of money in different alumni accounts and some other different accounts. There's just been a little bit of mismanagement of funds, so I didn't know if you knew anything about that or what your plan would be for getting Little I's funding back on track.
As far as I know, Little I, at least, is doing pretty well as far as their finances go, how much they have. But if you're talking about some issues as far as where it's supposed to be, that would be something I'd look into. It's not something I'd heard was an issue before this, but thank you for saying something about it. For sure.
Zach, can you describe, like, I've been on campus a long time, but I'm not really familiar with, like, the leadership selection process for Little I. So can you talk us through that? Is this something that the student body votes for, or is this something that's, like, internally selected and you just want to make sure that people know who you are?
So, well, that's why I'm coming here, is because anybody with a MyState account can vote. So there will be QR codes. I should have mentioned that. Voting will take place the 28th from 8 to 5. But what happens is I'm running for Little I assistant manager. If I win or my opponent wins, they will be the Little I assistant manager next year for the 104th Little I, and then you follow up your next year, so my senior year, as the manager.
So it's like a 2-year commitment.
It's a 2-year commitment. This, if I win next year, would primarily really be kind of learning the ropes, so I can eventually be manager. But, so what would happen is my position is voted on, and then I get to select my treasurer and secretary. That's my decision. And then there's, I believe, 14 total members of the direct exec team. 7 of those are like assistant livestock coordinator, then the livestock coordinator. So for all the members of exec, it is a 2-year commitment. So that's how that works. But mine's the only voted on position. The rest are selected by me and the rest of the exec team if I was to win.
Excellent. Thank you.
I understand there might be some bias in answering this question, but who is your opposition and why aren't they, are they in this room?
They are not in this room. Her name is Josie Nold. I know she's pretty busy right now. She's involved with the FFA, state FFA competition that's going on across the street, so there's that.
She will be here next week.
She will be? Okay, good to know. But, yeah, that answers that, basically, so.
How might your position and your stance differ from hers?
I think that we run on similar ideas. We both like the idea of more alumni involvement. My stance, I think, differs in that I'd say I have more experience with Little I. I've been involved with it longer. I'm a sophomore, she's a freshman this year. But other than that, I think we're both respectful opponents, and I wish the best for her.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Awesome. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right, moving on to open forum, still public comments. Any members of the public that would like to address the Senate tonight? All right, moving on to committee and staff reports, beginning with my own. Since this is the first meeting, a lot of us do know each other, but we are going to still introduce ourselves as an executive team. So if you don't know me, my name is Sophie Spear. I'm a sophomore pre-pharmacy student, so I'll be starting the professional program in the fall. I have a political science minor, so this is where my involvement with Student Association comes in. I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and SA is pretty much my life. So moving on to my report, I met with the Student Programming Committee last week. We experienced a Campus Works demo. Campus Works is a company that owns a software that runs very similarly to Jack's Club Hub. So it's an organization for student organizations, but also campus departments, events, surveys. This was not a commitment of any kind to Campus Works, but the RFP for Jack's Club Hub, or request for proposal, will be going up next year. So we're kind of starting that process of if we want to remove Jack or keep Jack's Club Hub or explore other options. I will say I was very impressed, but you know, with new amenities comes new expenses. So I think that's an ongoing conversation we're going to have not only as a student association, but as a university, as this would be something that several departments would benefit from. So where that money would come from, I think, would be around the university. Vice President Christoffels and Finance Chair Delahoyte and myself met with our advisors and also met with Provost Hedge and Vice Provost Seefelt, which Vice President Christoffels will be reporting on. In addition, I attended the bystander to upstander training last week. This was a super impactful experience for me, and I learned a lot about myself and also about my peers. I would strongly, this event will be a reoccurring event in the fall. Not sure on dates or anything like that, but I would strongly encourage you, if you are able to attend, to attend. It is a 2-hour training, but the 2 hours was well sat through, and I had a really good time being there. Did want to share a fun fact that I learned. In the 2024 school year, again, I'm not really sure if this entails a 25, 23, or 23, 24, but the 2024 school year, the Beta Bus from 9 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Friday through Saturday, there were 21,291 buses. So not students, just buses being used going back and forth between various places. So we don't really hear a ton about the Beta Bus, but that's a really big number that I wanted to share with everyone. So that's the end of my report. Vice President Christoffels.
Yeah, so I went to Student Promotion Fund on Wednesday. That was kind of our transition meeting. Oh, sorry, I have to do my introduction. Hi, guys. I'm Megan Christoffels, Vice President. I'm going into this is my second year, going into my last year here at SDSU. I do a couple other things around campus, Little I being one of them, and then some conservation organizations as well. That's kind of it for me. Going off my report again, Student Promotion Fund, that was Wednesday. Gov Affairs is gonna report on that a little bit more. Like Sophie said, we had a transition meeting with Dr. Willis, as well as the leadership team. We're working on getting our goals set, not just as me and Sophie, but as our whole exec team. Later this week, I went to the final parking and traffic meeting of the year. They had one final change that I reported on last month, which was that there was a lot change, at the PAC. They were gonna change lot 168 to, full economy commuter. They had a little bit of, issues with getting some of the people who hold reserve passes for that lot currently to give up their reserve parking spots. So they're keeping about a third of that lot as, reserve, and then the other 2/3 will still be economy commuter. And then lastly, like Sophie said, our meeting with provost and vice provost, we talked a lot about the university budget. And there will be town halls for that on April 28th at 1 p.m. right here in the Lewis and Clark room. Everyone's welcome. You can come hear a little bit about what's going on as far as university budget goes, as well as ask any questions you have to provost, Hedge, and then you are supposed to make sure that if you are graduating this year, fill out your RSVP for commencement. The link is in my state. It is due tomorrow. So if you are graduating this year, definitely get on that. And a report.
Chief of Staff Sharple Schmidt.
If you haven't yet, please fill out your roster form. I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Chief of Staff Andrew Sharple Schmidt. I'm a construction management major in the College of Engineering. It's way too complicated to explain what year in school I am, but somewhere hopefully close to senior. Anyway, for my report, if you haven't filled out your roster form, please fill out your roster form. And I'm currently working on ordering nameplates and name tags. Thank you.
I would just add, if you're a new ex officio, please just come up to us and let us know so we're all on the same page so we can get your guys' attendance in order. And Finance Chair Delahoyt.
Hello, I'm Finance Chair Delahoyt, civil engineering major, junior. I'm involved in the College of Engineering in a lot of different clubs. This week, the only thing I had to report, met with the advisors and then president, vice president about end of year finances and transition into the next fiscal year. End of report.
Did you want to introduce yourself, or you did? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay, Government Affairs Chair Mellison.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jackie. I'm the new Government Affairs Chair for this year. Yes, it's a pleasure being on the Senate again. I am a political science and criminology double major, minoring in legal studies and communication studies. It's pre-law. I'm a sophomore from Sioux Falls. I'm also pretty active with Political Science Club, Fem Club, some other clubs. Probably see me running around a lot. But yeah, as for Student Association, just kind of been working on my transition here, getting my email figured out. My photo isn't updated, but you can email SA Government Affairs and that will get to me. I attended City Council last Tuesday, introduced myself, did the transition with Anna, just kind of saying, hey, I'm here now. Also a bunch of policemen and policewomen were getting pinned, which I thought was really cool. Just some great things going on in our community at large. And then this past week, I also attended the Student Promotion Fund meeting as VP Christoffels mentioned. We worked with the Hobo Day Committee. They asked for just over 27 grand, and we granted that for them for the Hobo Day celebration this next fall. And then I will be meeting with Laura Carbonell from the Brookings Road Alliance. Getting used to that. Later this week to kind of discuss my role with her in that, and then I'm going to be meeting with the mayor next week, just introducing myself again, so, and a report.
Communications Chair Johnson.
Hey y'all, I'm Noah. I'm the communications chair for this year. I am a second year student from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. My majors are in biochemistry and chemistry. I am also involved in the Honors College. In the most recent past year, I have been involved as the RHEX officio. So I've been around with a little bit. This week I wrote out and sent out the lab report, which you hopefully saw earlier today. Lots of good stuff coming on campus. I posted the social media from last week as well as the pictures from all of the swearing in ceremony. So if you haven't got a chance to look at that, take a look at them. They look nice. I also completed the formal transition. I'm into all the documents. My name should be on everything now. You can't see it, I guess, but yeah, got that done. I also attended Student Promotion Fund. Good meeting. End report.
Diversity Liaison Continam.
Hi, my name is Brenda Katanam. I am a sophomore. I'm dual majoring in microbiology and biotech, and I'm minoring in women, gender, sexuality studies. The only thing I have in my report is I will be heading to the Human Rights Commission tomorrow with Matilda, the last diversity liaison, and we're just gonna be announcing our transition. I'm working on getting to the email, so if you just happen to email the diversity chair email, you will be sending it to a brick wall. So, end of report.
All right, moving on to ex officios, AFA, AISA.
At our last meeting, we did elections and those went really well, so I'm here now. And then we celebrated our summer birthdays. And then next week, we will be having our last meeting and we'll be going bowling together. So.
BSA, GSA.
Hi, I have the new next year's ex officio with me, Isaiah. They will be taking over my place next year. But this week I am presenting on queer artists and in theme with us having our paint sip on Thursday at 6 p.m. And yeah, end report.
Hero.
There isn't anyone to replace me yet, so I'm still here. So last week we did cleaning up of the big east lot. There was a lot of garbage, but it went well. Next week, on Tuesday, we are doing a pickleball night at 7 p.m. at Hillcrest Courts. So if you want to join us, it's going to be really fun. And a report.
Honors College.
The Honors College is currently looking for a student to take my place come the fall, so I too am still here for now. But the Honors College Student Organization is hosting their officer elections. That is online this year. That is a change. So if you are an honors student and have attended an Honors College Student Organization event, you should have gotten an email with a link to vote. So please do that. Voting closes tomorrow night. And then the Honors College is adding a guided capstone credit starting next year. So if you are an honors student that has not done their capstone yet, if that's like a big dark cloud hanging over your head, that's okay. This course will help you and guide you along the right path to get that credit done, and it doesn't matter what your major is. So if your major does not have a capstone requirement, this could be a really helpful course for you to start your project. End of report.
IRC.
So we'll be hosting a ice cream social this Friday by the Campanile Green. It'll be from 5 till 8. Yeah, there'll be games, snacks, and free ice cream. The IRC board will be meeting for the last time next Friday, and yeah, the report.
LASA. RHA. Unified Council. Unified Council. UPC.
So with me, I have Reagan Foley, who will be the UPC Vice President next year and will be serving as ex officio. For other current event news though, we have Nature Namaste was last week at McCrory Gardens. That went really well and it was such a beautiful day, so people were able to relax and explore the garden, and that went really well. This Wednesday we are having an Earth Day celebration. So basically at 5 to 6:30, you can meet at a table on Main Street and then we'll split into groups to clean up around campus and you can get a succulent at the end. On April 27th, so next Monday, you can join us at the Sylvan Green, that's by the Campanile, for our cornhole tournament. So if you want to sign up for that, make sure you scan the QR code on one of our various posters that we'll have about. Other exciting news is that UPC first off, okay, May Day, sorry, we have a lot of events. May Day is also coming up, which is taking place on May 1st. We'll be having games, food, and mini activities, so if you wanna get involved and volunteer, you can talk to Senator Annalyn. Or you could also email me or anyone in UPC. And then our exciting news is that we had our allocation meeting yesterday and we will be putting on 18 events next semester. End of report.
Awesome. Welcome, all new and returning ex officios. We appreciate you guys. Advisor Bylander.
Hello, I'm Advisor Bylander, Nathan Bylander. I am the program director for TRIO programs here at SDSU. I figured I should introduce myself like you guys, right? I've been in Brookings for, we'll call it 22 years, all but 3 of those associated with SDSU in some capacity, either as a student or an employee. And I'm about to finish my first semester as one of the 3 Students Association advisors. So that's a little about me. Yeah, snaps. Who yelled at me out their car earlier today? Okay.
I was driving home from work and I saw him and I yelled like.
Hi, Advisor Bylander.
We can put that in the minutes, yeah.
Sometimes students yell out their cars and you don't really actually know who
They
they are.
usually swear at me, so.
Someday. So welcome again, new senators, new ex officios. We've got one meeting? We have a meeting next week. So would just encourage everybody, you don't necessarily have a lot of time to maybe like push through things right before we get to the end of the school year. These first 2 meetings are kind of like intros, right? But I would encourage everybody, like, don't be entirely complacent over the summer, right? Be thinking a little bit about why you ran for Students Association, what are some of the things you want to get done, and then come into the fall semester, like, ready to work, right? I think, like Dom and I were talking before the meeting, sometimes we get in this habit of just letting the regulars kind of introduce things, right? But you are part of shared governance now, right? You are the voice of the students, and so if you feel like there are things that need to be said, you should consider it your responsibility to try to say those things, right? So just be thinking about that over the summer. Advisors, this isn't our full-time job, but we don't say yes to these things unless we really like interacting with students. So also, like, just know that we're here, right? Dr. Willis isn't literally here this week, but that's why we're here as advisors. It's not just to talk to leadership teams. So if you have things that you want to talk to one of the 3 of us about, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're all happy to meet with you one-on-one or in, little small groups, whatever you want. If you have things you want to discuss that you just feel like you want the ear of a faculty member or staff member, so. End of report.
Advisor Schmidt.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Chris Schmidt. I'm a Libra, in case you guys are wondering. I've been here forever. No, I'm like been here for 20-some years. Over 25 years I've been at SDSU. I've been an advisor for, I don't know, quite a few years. I can't remember, actually. It's been over 10. So it's been a great journey. I love doing this. And so I just wanted to let everybody know, my office door is open. If I'm there, come on in. I don't get very many people. Once in a while, if you come into my office, you will make my day, because talking with students is my favorite thing that I do. So I'm up in Carruthers Engineering in the corner, 301. I'm a professor in civil engineering. I'm a director of a research center also. And so I'm pretty busy, so if you want to for sure catch me, you're best to email me, SCHMIT, no D1T, in case you're looking that up, but I'll be on the email. So you can email me and then we can go from there and get you an appointment whenever. But I'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys are trying to shop around an idea or trying to think about it or how to approach it, those are some things that I'm really interested in talking to people about. And maybe can just offer some down-to-earth advice on how to move something forward, especially if you have some barriers or whatever. Yeah, other than that, like I said, I've been here for a while. I'm in civil engineering. I got Dom in class. It's been a great ride so far for the half of the semester that I've had you, I guess. And we're almost done with that class, so that's good. But make sure that you guys all study hard. You gotta make the grade. If you don't get the grade point average, you're gonna get thrown off the Senate. So there is a minimum GPA. So make sure that you're studying for your finals and doing well, so. yeah, that's enough for my act. No other for us to report.
All right, Advisor Willis is not here, so we'll move on to any committees that would like to report out tonight. Senator Derenge.
The Student Union Advisory Committee met last week, Thursday the 16th, and we kind of talked about three big things: Sodexo, Jaeger, and Union, of course. And so the food services have about a 5-year term, and before Sodexo we had Airmark, and it's about coming up on 4 years, so it's time to start negotiating changes if we're gonna go with Sodexo again in the future. And so, being a senator and being a student, you should always check your emails. Vice President Willis emailed us actually last week, I believe, about the dining RFP input session for student feedback from 5:30 to 6:30 in the SSU 05 Dakota ANC building. That should be here somewhere. If not, you can just check your email and tell me I'm wrong. Anyway, we were invited to that as senators because we voiced for the students, and we've all ate the food here. We've all had good experiences. We all had bad experiences, and so it's an invitation. It's a great way to use your voice as a senator to represent your students. It's really important for those who have allergies to get your voice out. If you're a foreign exchange student, it's super important to get your voice out and just overall represent why you're here. So we talked about that. With that, it's a time to change in policies, and all the schools are reevaluating, so make sure you go to that. Jaeger is closing after this semester, and all the kitchen appliances are gonna be stored in Hanson and Winetta, so if you ever go into a dorm in the summer, well, there might be an oven in there. They have, yeah, anyway. The kitchen is still gonna be running nonetheless while they're moving it back to Larson's. And so Club 71 and NSA, all these camps that are happening, they're gonna try to do a soft opening, a soft launch back at Larson's. Just try to see if there's any problems with the setup or anything, with the kitchen especially, because it was so outdated. And so hopefully that goes pretty smooth. The Union, we are replacing Union 1336 doors. They're these giant glass doors, and they're like 700 pounds. So it's great for fire suppression. However, because they're so heavy, they're warping on the hinges. So we're just getting thinner doors. And then going off of that, those fire resistant doors give about 4 to 5 hours until the fire breaks through. And the Union's basically 3 buildings. You have Main Street, you have with the basement, the upstairs, and the ballroom. And why I mentioned that is they're fixing the HVAC system in the summer. So hopefully we're gonna have a lot better air conditioning and temperature regulation. And so, yeah, overall, Jaeger, Sodexo, and making sure you get your voice out for that. And the Union, of course. I'm Becca, I'm a freshman representing Nursing College. I'm only saying this because I'm a returning senator and we have a very young Senate. So if you have any questions, talk to the advisors, talk to the executive team, talk to me, Senator Holland, Wallen, anyone else here who's returning, Dreska. Just make sure there's a learning curve, make sure you're not getting behind, you're asking questions, and we're keeping the Senate super involved and moving forward. With that, end of report.
Other committees to report out. Senator Shrestha.
I attended a research, scholarship, and creative activity committee. That was the last meeting. The committee presented a white paper that discussed the impediment to PhD recruitment at SDSU. Earlier in this semester, the survey was sent out, and this survey was finished by 8 head of departments, 4 graduate coordinators, 3 graduate college leaderships, and 49 current PhD students. The key takeaway from this white paper was that funding limitations, non-competitive stipends, lack of graduate student health insurance support, visa and international friction to be the most persistent barriers to why the PhD enrollment is not increasing. And the recommendation this white paper provided was to establish a more competitive and predictive funding architecture, to build a centralized recruitment and applicant tracking and infrastructure, and to strengthen international recruitment. Yeah, end of report.
Awesome, that's good feedback. Other committees to report out? Right, not a committee itself, but as new senators, you guys won't have committees for the rest of the semester, as our old Senate will still be sitting on the their committees for the remaining basically 2 weeks we have of the semester. So as Advisor Bylander was saying, you guys will be getting an email over the summer from Vice President Christoffels about a committee shuffle. So more information to come on that. But if you were having questions about various committees, you will learn more. Further committees to report out tonight. All right, any questions for any of the reports? Senator Holland.
I was just wondering if there is a ex officio for RHA lined up.
Yeah, quick, I went to their elections today. They elected positions for literally everything but RHA, ex officio, which was the position we were gonna fill with it. So we're just gonna make someone else do it, which means that we're just gonna have someone else in the thing, get involved, unless someone else wants to take care of it. So call out to anyone who's actually watching this, or listening on the Collegian, I think they cover this.
Yep.
Please, if you live in housing for next year, RHA would love to see you as their ex officio here. You get to serve on some great committees. You great stuff, and housing is arguably one of the most impacted things of what we do here in our advocacy. So I would very much encourage going for that. Otherwise, we're just gonna make someone else in RHA do it, or they, I guess, will make it. My plea didn't work, so.
Any other questions for any of the reports tonight? All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. And since we amended our agenda, we have unfinished business item A, resolution 25, or my goodness, I'm gonna get it right, 26-1-R. Chief of Staff Sharple Schmidt, would you please introduce this item?
Yes, Resolution 26-1-R, title of resolution reads, "The South Dakota State University Students Association requests the replacement of the paper-based room reservation signs and digital availability screens in the University Student Union." Main sponsors include Dominic Delahoyd, Finance Chair Dominic Delahoyd, President Sophie Spear, Vice President Megan Christoffels, Chief of Staff Andrew Sharple Schmidt, Communications Chair Noah Johnson, Government Affairs Chair Jackie Mollison, and Diversity Liaison Brenda Catanam.
Anyone request this item be read in full? Finance Chair Delahoyd? It's been requested. Chief of Staff Sharple Schmidt, would you please read this item?
Resolution 26-1-R, title of resolution reads, the South Dakota State University Students Association requests the replacement of the paper-based room reservation signs and digital availability screens in the University Student Union. Whereas the Student Union serves as the central hub for student life, professional networking, and organizational collaboration at our university, and whereas the current system for displaying room schedules relies on manual, daily replacement of paper slips outside each meeting room, and whereas the use of paper schedules is often perceived as outdated, can easily be misplaced or damaged, and lacks the visual clarity required for a high-traffic professional environment, and whereas students and visitors often find it difficult to determine real-time room availability or locate specific meetings from a distance due to the small font and static nature of paper signage, and whereas digital availability screens provide a streamlined, modern aesthetic that reflects the university's commitment to technological integration and professional excellence. Be it resolved that the Students Association supports the replacement of the current paper-based room scheduling system in the Student Union with permanent wall-mounted digital availability screens. Be it further resolved that these screens shall be integrated with the existing room reservation software to ensure real-time updates, eliminating the need for manual daily labor and reducing paper waste. Be it further resolved that the display interface must prioritize accessibility and readability, utilizing high contrast visuals and clear typography so that room status in use versus available is easily identifiable from a distance. Be it further resolved that the Students Association recommends that the union administration identifies a standardized professional template for these displays that includes the meeting title, the sponsoring organization, and the duration of the reservation. Be it further resolved that a formal request be sent to the student union to the Student Union Management and the University Facilities Department to conduct a feasibility study and a cost-benefit analysis for the procurement and installation of these devices. Be it finally resolved that this resolution be delivered to the Director of the Student Union and the Vice President of Student Affairs to advocate for the modernization of our shared campus spaces.
All right, is there a motion? Finance Chair Delahoyd.
Second.
Finance Chair Delahoyd, first right to debate.
Yeah, so this kind of first came into my head as a resolution when I went over to the Alumni Center and was there for a different event and saw that they had these really nice display screens on all of their meeting rooms. And so then it showed like, hey, this room's available, or this room has a meeting in it, and then it clearly displayed who's in there in large font. And so I was like, I feel like that'd be really nice. I know a lot of people, when they come for different meetings here in the Union, it can be kind of confusing which room's which up here, especially on the upper floor, with finding those. And then if it clearly displayed who's reserving that, and they don't have to go read the really tiny paper, I think that'd be really helpful. So that's kind of why I wrote the resolution. I feel like it'd be something that would also help just reduce our overall paper waste. As they go around, they replace those papers every single day, and there's like almost 20, 30 papers. So there's just a lot of wasted paper that doesn't really need, and a lot of wasted time for our union workers. So.
Further discussion, Senator Deering.
I just have a few questions about like the finances of it. Obviously, paper's pretty cheap and we don't want to keep wasting it, but how much are these screens that cost? And then how much would it cost to like assemble it and put it up? Is it like 20 per little screen and then reassemble it? I don't know if there's gonna be an outlet right next to it, if they're gonna have to maneuver it somewhere else. So like, how much does it cost for the screen?
For the most part, the screens are battery powered for that. But then for the screen itself, you're ranging $500 to $1,000 per screen. But that is like a one-time expense. So it does add up when you do the paper and the labor each year versus this. My big thing would be when I wrote this, it was to do a feasibility study to see if it's even possible for the union to do this. So the university has maintenance and repair money and other funds miscellaneously around, and sometimes they're looking in buildings such as the union for ways to spend that. So they may have wanted to spend it this next year on chairs for the union. Maybe we're like, hey, you should instead spend it here. So just more of doing a feasibility study, seeing if maybe if they aren't able to do it next year, sometime in the future, maybe making that part of the movement forward.
Senator Fossen.
I just need some clarification. I can't tell if this resolution is in support of the wall-mounted digitals or asking for them to do a study. It feels like there are like two different objectives being pushed here, and they aren't necessarily aligned.
Yeah. So it's pushing them to do a study, but saying that we want these, but we want you to do a study to figure out if it's possible. Because we can't just say, hey, union, go put in screens, because that's not how this really works. We can go and ask them to figure out if that's possible, to do a study, to figure out if we have any money to be able to do this, if it's possible, when it's possible, kind of doing something like that. So it's, hey, we want these screens, and we want you to kind of do the study to figure out if these are possible or not.
Where is the clause specifically that references the study? Can we see it on the screen? Okay.
Second to last, you can find it was.
Okay. UPC?
My main concern is just how it would be able to be compatible with their current system. Because even right now with their current system, when we go to reserve events or reserve rooms or confirm rooms, it's a struggle to get emails from them and get the confirmation that we've gotten these rooms reserved. So my worry is just with their system that it wouldn't be compatible enough to expand and do this project.
Dr. Schmidt?
Rarely do I ever talk on a resolution. This might be one of the first times. But I've been talking about this for 10 years in SUAC and everywhere. When they updated the union last time, I said, why aren't you guys putting screens in these rooms? I think this is an excellent idea. If you go to other universities, this is really standard operating procedure. I was just at, my son goes to Lincoln, so I was down in Nebraska, and he was showing you around his business school. Every one of their rooms had one of these classrooms, study rooms, every single room. the study rooms, if they were available, you could touch the screen, reserve it right then and there, walk in the study room and use it. And so really, this is, I think, the way that we need to go as a university. We're already behind on this, and so I actually would support this because I think it'll be really beneficial to the students.
I just wanted to respond to UPC. I am not 100% sure, so if anyone can confirm this, please do. But I believe the university uses the same reservation system university throughout. So if it would be applicable to the Alumni Center, no?
Sorry, I work at the Alumni Center. I don't think so. We have transformed to be a separate entity. So I think most of what we do is completely different than what the union does. I could be wrong, but
Looks like that's right. Okay. I don't know who was next, but I'm gonna go to Vice President Christopoulos.
Yeah, I've looked over this resolution. I'm a sponsor on it. I really am in support of it as well. I think it's super important that we get up to date on this, especially according to like ADA regulations and everything like that. Definitely something that we as a university are striving for, as well as like becoming a higher level university, which other universities around us starting to do this. We should definitely be up there as well. And then as far as like concerns go for what some of the senators mentioned, I think it's important to note that like this is a feasibility, like we're pushing a feasibility like test to see if this will actually work. So they're gonna work out all these kinks before this actually gets put in place. So this is just us telling them that, hey, we want you to look into this, work out all the kinks and then do it. It's not just us like going up and putting these things around and like seeing if they work or not. We're gonna do this the right way and go through with it, but I just am super in support of like taking these first steps towards that.
Senator Derenge.
Just asking questions just so I can get more of an idea of what these screens are. I think it's a great idea. I think we should all vote aye on this because once again, we're kind of falling behind. Just two more questions. How many rooms in the union would this affect? Would it be like 20, 25? Because that's gonna be a big budget, but once again, it's good for the future. So how many rooms would it affect? And then I'm not completely comfortable or sure with the screen. So is it touchscreen? Because obviously if a touchscreen is more advanced, it's gonna be more expensive. And if someone brushes against it the wrong way, it might offset something. So how many rooms does it affect? And then is it a touchscreen or not?
Yeah, so for the rooms it affects, it would mainly be the upstairs rooms here and then like the Jack Harper room downstairs, maybe the VBR. So you're looking at, I would say about 25-ish screens, 20 to 25 screens. They are not touchscreen in the fact of you can go up and do stuff on them. They are, from what I understand, there's a button you can push on them for like maintenance and then they're able to like do stuff on it. But for the most part, they're not touchscreen. If I brush up against it or I try to just go touch it, it's not gonna do anything unless I know like the code or whatever it is to be able to modify it.
Senator Dunn.
I just had a question about how we would be like actually using the reservations because currently there's a lot of issues with just like getting rooms unlocked for reservation times. We have to call a union manager. Is that something that's going to be addressed with this? Are we changing stuff to be more digital, to have it more scheduled, or are we still going to be having these screens, but then still needing to call someone to manually unlock a door with a key?
So my response to that would be, this is addressing only the screen issue. It's not addressing the union management, how they do rooms and stuff. We can write a separate resolution that we encourage them. I think with these though too, we have the possibility that if they're gonna go over to a more digital system, they would be changing their system away from people just sending an email to central reservations, because that's also really outdated way of reserving rooms. And so I think this would potentially start the ball rolling toward them getting maybe a newer system, looking at what some of those big universities, like Dr. Schmidt said, like UNL, what are they using to make this? Because I've been to UNL's campus, they have it in every single building across their whole university, and it's super easy to reserve and stuff, so I definitely think there's other programs we could look at doing there, and maybe this will get the ball rolling. This is not a resolution to fix unlocking rooms, stuff like that. It's just about screens and having more of a professional look on each room.
Senator Shrestha.
I think this is an excellent resolution, and we should support this. One question is that I have is like, what are the metrics that will be used to determine the feasibility of those screens? Do you know?
Yeah, so if you scroll down back to the bottom again, if you see one of them that we have, these screens are, I would say horizontally, they're about the size of a piece of paper, but just horizontally. And so you can see clearly that the room name is a lot bigger. As the time, it lights up green, so you can see, oh, hey, there's a meeting going on there right now, or oh, it's red, that means that there's nothing in there. But then it also will have, like, I'm hoping on these, a large font that says, like, this is reserved by Little International. You're able to easily see that. So a little bit more than just the 12-point font that's currently on pieces of paper.
Senator Wallen?
Yeah, there's also, like, for one of the bigger rooms, there's one that's like giant, and then on it, it'll say like, reserved from 3:15 to 4:15 by Annalyn Wallen. It's super clean, it's super efficient. We have them upstairs, where like downstairs, we're still on the paper system, and it's horrible. This is super easy to update, it's clean, you don't have to worry about someone reprinting a paper, going down, changing it, it's efficient, it makes a lot less work for people. And yeah, it might seem expensive at first, but when you add up how much paper costs, if you're reprinting it 3 times a day and doing it for 25 rooms, it adds up. And yeah, I'm in full support.
Further discussion? I would just highlight Senator Dunn's comment. It kind of goes with UPC. It sounds like if there are some issues with union reservations, I know the EMR system is not easy to work with. We have central reservations. We obviously, Senator Darren sat on the last Union Advisory Committee of the year, but that would be something that we should definitely bring to them. Before, sponsoring a resolution, we will want to be in partnership with the union and get those questions answered. I would encourage senators to do that. And so we can maybe get some feedback on how students can benefit better if potentially if there is a staff shortage and that's why we're not seeing rooms unlocked. I've also encountered that before. Or if it's just a simple question that needs to be answered of what time they can be unlocked, just encourage that for future reference. As for the item on the table, any other discussion? All right, we'll take this to a roll call vote. Chief of Staff Sharplesmith, would you please call the roll?
Senator Wallen.
Aye.
Senator Stein. Senator Schultz. Senator Loof. Senator Kloster.
Aye.
Senator Fassen.
Aye.
Senator Schwetza.
Aye.
Senator Tooley. Unexcused. Senator Holland.
Aye.
Senator Dunn.
Aye.
Senator Derringe.
Aye.
Diversity Liaison Katanan.
Aye.
Communication Chair Johnson.
Aye.
Government Affairs Chair Mollison.
Aye.
Finance Chair Delahoyd.
Aye.
Chief of Staff Sharplesmith. Aye. Vice President Christoffels.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and resolution 25, or darn it, 26-1-R is passed. Sorry about that. Moving on to new business. Also, want to remind people online, Lydia or Senator Stein and Senator Loof, please just remind me if I'm missing any conversation for you guys. Communications Jared Johnson will see your Zoom hand up, but just feel free to jump in whenever. Moving on to new business, beginning with new business item A, the 8th Street Path MOU, standing for Memorandum of Understanding. Chief of Staff Sharplesmith, would you please introduce the title and background of this MOU?
Title of the memorandum reads, Memorandum of Understanding between the South Dakota State University Student Union, McCrory Gardens, and South Dakota Students Association, McCrory Gardens, and South Dakota State University facilities and services for a monetary allocation and general support for the South Dakota State Aberendum. Background is on October 6th, 2025, Tanner Aiken, project manager and horticulturist, Jonathan Mandering Director of Campus Planning, and Lisa Marantz, Director of McCrory Gardens, attended the SDSU Students Association meeting to discuss the South Dakota State Arboretum Recreation Corridor Project. This project entailed improvement of the trail system in McCrory Gardens, flooding prevention systems, and other general improvements to the recreation corridor area, with the primary goal of improving the longevity of the space and recreation options for students and members of the community. The main funding source for this project is a TAP grant through the South Dakota Department of Transportation, with other local and state monetary donations to the project. Subsequent to the Students Association meeting, project members reached out to Students Association leadership requesting support for the project. Students Association leadership, with the support of university administration, agreed to provide a fiscal allocation and general support for the project, with the condition that the highly used 8th Street connection between campus and the local Walmart through McCrory Gardens, known as the Walmart Path, among students and staff, be improved for student and community use and connected to the overall recreation corridor trails. Collaborative discussions then took place, which ultimately led to the Memorandum of Understanding being developed.
Would anyone request that the rest of this item be read in full? We are gonna have some discussion on this further, so I am gonna request that the purposes and terms be read through. And then we can continue that discussion.
The purpose of this Memorandum of Understanding is to establish a written agreement between the Students Association, McCrory Gardens, and facilities and services regarding monetary support for the South Dakota State Arboretum Recreation Corridor to include renovation of the 8th Street Path. This document was drafted with the intent to solidify this agreement and ensure all parties adhere to the negotiated plan to the best of their abilities. Terms of the agreement are, the following terms are outlined by the South Dakota State Students Association with contribution of facilities and services in McCrory Gardens. Item 1, the South Dakota State University Students Association commits up to $150,000 for the Students Association Transportation Fund, from the Students Association Transportation Fund to the South Dakota Arboretum Recreation Corridor Project. Item 2, upon commitment of this monetary donation, the project will include renovation of the 8th Street Walmart Path, connecting it to the new trail system. The Students Association proposes the following restorations to the 8th Street connection. Item A, in the interest of the safety of the path's travelers, the Students Association requests that the path be paved to the high standards of the trail system and meet all proper regulatory guidelines. Item B, the path be lit as much as possible with the structural integrity of the natural environment in mind. Item C, the project engineers and managers keep in mind the practical use and realistic student travel patterns when finalizing the connection. Item 3, connection of the 8th Street Walmart Path connection. Construction of the 8th Street Walmart Path connection shall take place over the summer of 2026, including using the university's available maintenance and repair dollars. The broader construction of the South Dakota Arboretum Recreation Corridor will take place according to the project timeline. Item 4, all parties shall meet quarterly for project updates and to ensure progress is being made. Meetings shall be in September, November, February, and April to mutually agree upon dates and times until project completion. Item 5, during the quarterly meetings, parties shall discuss safety measures for users to include discussion of emergency call boxes and/or other emergency response options on the 8th Street Trail and within the new trail system broadly. Conversations will include recommendations for the SDSU AVP for safety and security and Chief of University Police as appropriate.
Awesome. Since this is a new business item, we will not be voting on this. However, we do have some representatives from facilities and McCrory Gardens here. If I would welcome them up, yield my time, so they can come up and talk about some logistics of this project.
Yes.
I'm actually gonna backtrack and some of these out. I don't have nearly enough of these, so I apologize in advance. I think I have not. So sharing is caring.
So while Tanner is distributing, I'll do my introduction. I'm Lisa Marotz, the oldest member of the persons in this room. I'm a 1989 alum. I'm a 1989 Jackrabbit. I've been in Brookings since 1984. And although the motto of SDSU at the time was you can go anywhere from here, I added the caveat that you can stay too if you want to. And that still holds true. Thank you. I love hearing the conversation that happens within the room, especially with campus dining. I was with campus dining as an undergrad and for up to 23 years of my life, both with food service. We used to have a pizza place on campus and then in catering. Left SDSU and then came back to McCrory Gardens, and this will be wrapping up my 10th year. Tanner.
Yeah, Tanner Aiken. I think we were here in what, October?
Halloween, because you were all dressed a little differently.
Yeah. That's right. Project manager and campus horticulturist. I work with facilities and services, and this is my project, Recreation Corridor. I think probably a lot of new faces in the room right now, so I'm just gonna start back down at ground level. So, 2022, is that when we pursued the TAP grant? So the TAP grant is a transportation alternative grant, and this is through the DOT. It's federal dollars that come down to the state. The state distributes them as they see fit. And we applied for this project, seeing the potential of the west side of the Arboretum, kind of the disc golf course area. And then there's some area that's just used or was used at one time for construction staging, kind of in the wetlands. And we just saw a lot of potential there. And so Lisa put the grant together and we got it, which was surprising.
Big deal, yeah.
Yeah, really surprising. So this grant, we need to fund 48%. That's our match. And then, do I have that backwards? No, we fund 52, yeah, 52, 48. It's roughly 50-50. So if for every dollar we put towards the project, the DOT awards us basically $1 back. And so this is an opportunity to make our funding or stretch our funding way out to achieve a really high quality product. The project itself, as you see on the paper you have, and I don't have the full project map on there. You might have it digitally, maybe not. Okay, yeah, great. It's a 2.5 kilometer trail through the entire Arboretum. We wanted to bring more activity into the Arboretum. It's an excellent space. If anybody's been out there, full of trees. It's really the closest thing we have to a natural space that's in walking distance of the campus. And so I'm a fan of the Dakota Nature Park, and that's kind of what inspired this project. Is we wanted to have something programmatic that was really similar to the Arboretum. So, 2 options for trail. There will be a paved trail that goes through 2.5 kilometers, and then a gravel trail that goes through. They're side by side in a lot of places, and they diverge in other places. There's some other opportunities for some grassy trails. So, really this is open to anybody that wants to ride their bike, run, walk, just go lay in the grass in the trees. It's,
Wheelchair?
yeah, wheelchair, and it is ADA accessible, yeah. So that's kind of the project in a nutshell. Total project estimated cost, 1.4 million. This also, I should back up just a little bit because 1.4 million sounds like a lot for just a couple trails in a circle. There is a large portion of this project devoted to stormwater management. So the city of Brookings, a large chunk, comes down through, Village Square. It's at the retail to the south campus. A lot of water runs through there, and it all runs through the west side of the Arboretum. And so we deal with a ton of water. There's a lot of flooding. And so in order to make the area more usable and turn this, this kind of drainage challenge into a feature of the site. We're looking at doing some ponds, some structures to kind of control and direct where that water goes. Ultimately, it'd be great to get a partnership with some folks on campus and really start highlighting maybe there's benefits in wildlife out there. We could do things with native plants out there. There's a lot of opportunities. So that's where the rest of that funding comes in. Disc golf course. This is like a project, but it's doing a lot. Disc golf course, there's an opportunity to take the existing 9-hole course and stretch it to a full 18-hole course. And so that's been very popular as we talk about that. I've yet to hear somebody that says, nope, nine holes is enough. So yeah, we're excited for that. It would allow us to host state competitions, tournaments, things like that. So that is kind of the project in a nutshell. Do you have anything to add?
What Tanner was talking to a bit about, how is this going to be funded and how is this going to be matched? Every gift we give is certainly going to support it, the match that's required from the $600,000 grant. It's just been very well received when I go to other donors. I also appreciate the fact that there's this opportunity for gift in kind that counts towards the match. There's volunteer hours that count towards the match. There's things that, although we had hoped that maybe we could have groundbreaking this summer, and it's delayed to next spring perhaps, not talking specifically about that connecting piece, but the overall project itself. We look at what some of the work that was put into the project can now be done this summer by either collaboration between facilities and McCrory Gardens team. And so it's going to save dollars by us doing the work, and then that goes towards match as well. So even though it was downheartening to hear that it's going to be delayed, we can't help but find the silver lining and see what other things can unfold. I could tell you lots of different stories, but one that stands out to me as most recent, I reached out to Natural Resource Management Department because a gentleman that I was blessed to meet in November, and he had been a very generous donor to McCrory Gardens on One Day for State. He was our lead gift giver. He passed away, and I had collected these stories about what he had done and why did he choose SDSU and McCrory Gardens to give to. And trying to summarize this a little bit here is that he worked for the National Forest Service and the National Park Service, and he made those those lookout sections where you can pull off and you can read the sign about what you're looking for. And giving back, the family wants to support the gift that he has made and then match that so that I can work with Natural Resource Management to make these signs to then, this whole full circle where we are able to display the work that this gentleman did through our own folks and students getting to learn. But lots of opportunities that way too. I love the fact that Cross Country is committed for the path that Tanner has mentioned. It's really coming together with smaller gifts and more expansive gifts and gifts of time and gifts of things. Thank you for your attention. Do I ask if there's any other questions? Sophie, take a lead.
If there are any procedural questions, we are not going to talk about the like voting on this. We'll go on that next week. But if there are just general questions for the project, is there any questions?
Yeah, quick question. So for the 8th Street connection with lighting that path, is there a reason why only that part of the path was chosen, or why this section? My only concern here is the fact that we're lighting this part, but it doesn't necessarily lead to anything, because it doesn't continue lighting anywhere outside of the path.
Sure. Yeah, so as a natural space, from the outset of this project, we felt strongly that this would not be lit to the degree that the rest of campus is lighted to. Again, we want to preserve those natural spaces. We understand that the A Street connection, the Walmart path as you'd call it, it has a lot of high traffic, and that traffic sometimes happens when the sun is not fully up or the sun is going down. And so we do acknowledge it makes sense to do some amount of lighting in that area. It does tie into kind of the arterial and north arterial piece of the paved path, but you're correct, that would not be lit to the north. Your closest way to lighting would be then to the south. And hearing your comments, I'm looking at this and I'm going, yeah, it probably makes sense to extend that low voltage lighting down and connect to the parking lot. I think there would also be an opportunity to talk about, budget's tough on this right now. We're trying to do a lot with this project, but there could be an opportunity to take that low voltage lighting a little bit further north too. I think this is the start to getting this connection from A Street through and to a safe crossing on 22nd. It's not exactly clear where that's going to be at. I will tell you, I sit on the Brookings Transportation Master Plan Committee, and they are talking about, or they're acknowledging anyways, that we do need a safe crossing across 22nd now. That's been elevated in priority, and so it's in the plan too. It's unclear where that will happen. We're trying to leave our options open though. There is a call box in that area.
That was my other thing was, so I see we have one call box on the whole project. Is that the only call box there'll be on the whole project?
Yes, that's the only one that's planned right now. Yeah.
Because my only thing would be, I would almost rather see, instead of this part being lit, a couple extra call boxes placed throughout. I know budget's tight, that I feel like that would be almost a better use. Just because I don't feel like I'm gonna see, I feel like a lot of people that walk across this Walmart, making it to the parking lots. Yeah. Maybe I feel like that would be a safer bet to start, and then you always could come back later and add lighting.
That's excellent feedback. That's why we're here. Yeah, it's excellent feedback.
Just want to say thank you for coming back. I remember I heard about this in October and I was really excited about the Walmart path. I have a quick question for you and then one for Vice President Spear. Vice President Spear and Vice President Christophels, is on the map you have orange and you have green. Is that for special pavement or is that new or old? I'm just kind of curious about what.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's no E, so I'm just kind of curious about those colors.
Yeah, so the green would be the gravel. So that would be the softer surface path. The orange trail that you see would be either asphalt. Well, the orange north of the lighted path will be asphalt. Or it's what it's planned as now. And then the retail path, the 8th Street connection, that's concrete.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't see a key or a legend, so I was kind of confused.
Yeah, no, good question.
And then for President Spear and Vice President Christophels, I know when you were running, you had a plan of transportation. Is this a part of this or is that something else? Okay, I just wanted to clear that up. This is
Yep, supporting this project was one of Vice President Christophels and I's initiatives.
So I really love this idea, and my main question is if during the winter, if you'll have a section of it that will be plowed and still accessible to walk through, especially just like even that short or just more the path that you're planning on having more lighting, just so people can still walk through there when the snow's high.
Yeah, so to answer the snow removal question, it is, the grant is contingent. There's actually, it's a perpetual maintenance clause in the grant. And so there, we do have to identify areas that we are going to remove snow on. The goal would be to have a paved path or to have a plowed path all the way to wherever that connection happens on 22nd, where it's a safe pedestrian crossing. Yes.
Last thing would be, I remember when you came previously, the green areas through Big East, is that still the plan or is that not on there?
Yeah, so the recent master plan identified maybe a few greenways that would connect through the Big East lot back to the residence halls on the west side of the Big East lot. That is still the plan. That is still the intention to do that. And that's why this trail kind of dead ends more or less right into the Big East lot, is we would look to then continue that down and make a strong connection to the west, on the west side of the big lots.
So there'd be like a sidewalk through that, kind of.
Yep. Yeah, so it'd be a sidewalk. The intention is a sidewalk, a rather large boulevard, and then trees. Really try to bring the nature over to campus. And yeah, what we want to get rid of is any conflicts, pedestrian conflicts with vehicles as you're trying to access that.
Kind of on that note, do you know, this might be more of like a City of Brookings question, but on that 22nd Avenue to cross to the Walmart lot, is there talks or conversations about putting in a crosswalk that isn't all the way down at that stoplight past, like by Perkins?
Yeah, so it's been acknowledged by the city that something's going to have to happen there. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. I mean, a crosswalk, yes, but I don't know, will that be electronically signaled? Seems like it would have to be. It's such a busy street. But yeah, it has been acknowledged and it has moved up in priority. And so yeah, people are talking about it, certainly.
Just jumping quick too. I did get to go to the master planning, there was a reveal or an open session, a couple of them. I don't remember what month it was, but someone from Department of Transportation was there and I was looking at the multiple maps that they had there and I was talking with her about what the need was. And she told me to write a Post-it note on there for the rectangular flashing. She told me exactly what to put on this sticky note to put on the map. And then it wasn't but a couple weeks ago, I reached out to her via an email saying, hey, that was me that you talked to put the sticky note about the rectangular flash. And then I don't know, I apologize in advance if I speak out of turn, but we've also seen how if you are looking from Google Earth and you look down and you can see where the walking paths are once you get across 22nd, there's nowhere to land once you get and you want to go to Walmart, but you can see where the walking paths are. So who gets a voice in that? I don't know. So if we get you safely across 22nd, then how do we get you safely into the store or any other retail spaces that are there? So yes, keep talking.
You guys certainly seem to have the right priorities in mind. Students of the safety of the students, student interaction, connecting us with the natural greenery. With all of this pavement going in or asphalt going in, are you worried about the effect of heavy machinery in that area? And how are you planning on addressing that?
Yeah, so as part of my job with facilities, I handle tree protection on campus and through construction activities for all the projects. And so very conscious of how do we get construction equipment in here? How do we establish or bring a trail to a nice natural setting without destroying the natural setting we're trying to bring it to? So it's definitely something we've talked a lot about. We're confident that we can do that. We've taken inventory on trees. We've decided which trees may have to be somewhat sacrificial to the project and what are areas that we really want to prioritize and highlight. And so, yeah, it's definitely something we're thinking a lot about and very conscious of it.
I'll mention too that Mr. Lyle Pudwell, he's an alum of SDSU and he is in this project and so excited about it. And last summer, May, yes, we walked through, Tanner was there, Chris Schlenker, our director of horticulture, Lyle and I just was in the back seat of the golf cart like, oh my gosh, Lyle's having so much fun with this because he doesn't often get to work in a project where you can just see where those natural sight lines are already at. So as far as, we're very sentimental about our trees. You can be assured no tree will go left unmourned if it needs to be moved, but so yeah. You've probably never heard that before. We're tree huggers, I guess is the other way to say that, but yeah, it's just nice to see where it's so intentional and so thought-filled as to where things are gonna go, and even looking at the different slopes of the ground that's out there, or will there be opportunities where we can be just letting the natural prairie come through? I mean, again, with this gift from the gentleman that used to work for the National Park Service, to be able to have almost a lookout or these different opportunities for education throughout the Arboretum too is just, it's an endless, awesome stream of joy out there, so.
Gross.
Let's do it.
Do you have any plans to put garbage cans out there since it's gonna be like highly trafficking, like the devoted garbage cans?
It's not something we've talked about in the project, but I think it just operationally, I think there'll have to be something. Not, not maybe at every intersection. Again, we wanna try to keep that a natural space, but yeah, I think there's gonna have to be to some extent. We're kind of unsure after we put this in just how many more people will use the Arboretum. So some of that may be driven by the traffic that we're seeing. If we're seeing problems with refuse, or we're seeing people walk around, with empty water bottles and things, there may be need for cans. So we may just have to evaluate it and kind of see what we get.
What's the expected timeline for the completion of the project?
Yeah, so the question is, what was the expected timeline of the project? So originally, when we started design, the expected timeline was we were going to build it this summer. And this is a really complex project with a lot of players, a lot of stakeholders, and we're still going through the fundraising motions on this. And so with the complexity of the project, there's a lot more design to do. We want this to be high quality. It's now going to start next spring, and it's going to finish, we hope, all in the same season. So it'd be a spring to fall, hopefully seeding, getting vegetation down in the fall. So next summer. Yeah, important distinction. The 8th Street connection portion that we've highlighted for you here today, that would happen this year. We want that to happen before we get to the whole project. So the 8th Street connection really is outside the scope of the greater recreation corridor project. We couldn't fit that into the project. The requirements are pretty rigid. Once you draw a project boundary for these grant projects, it's kind of where it stays. You gotta have very, very good justification to start messing with those boundaries. And so the easiest thing for us, knowing how high of a priority this is for the student body, is to handle this through a separate project. And so that'll happen in 26, the lighting and the small path that gets you connected up through the Maples. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
I believe we'll see you guys again next week, most likely. So we can review our lovely map, and then we can make some comments and get those back to you so we can communicate that with our partners.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Alright, moving on to new business item B, the Hobo Day MOU Memorandum of Understanding. Is there an introduction? How about let's just introduce the background, title and background of this piece of legislation.
Title reads, South Dakota State University Hobo Day Committee, Memorandum of Understanding between the South Dakota State University Hobo Day Committee and the South Dakota State University Students Association. Background, the Hobo Day Committee has been an applicant and recipient of the Student Promotion Fund for 13 years since the fund was created in 2013. The Hobo Day Committee request is continually fully funded by the Student Promotion Fund Committee due to their consistent high application scores and meaningful impact on the South Dakota State University and community.
All right, this is a new business item, so we will be voting on this and discussing this next week. Any further questions, reach out to myself and we can communicate with Hobo Day Committee as well.
Will Grace be here next week?
We can ask her to be, yes. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to topics for future discussion. Are there any topics for future discussion? Any online? Okay, moving on to announcements. Any announcements? So next week will be our last meeting. You guys are required office hours this week. And there's a sheet up. Any other announcements? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn? Senator Darrench. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned.
Oh, you got no opposition.
Opposition to adjourn.
An accidental opposition, I think.
I totally want that.
Thanks, Lydia and Kaylee.
They're 7 hours. I need 7 to that.
When I saw my core.